Hello, I'm Binzer Flynn, and welcome to the Flinncast.
Hello. Boogity boogie boogie, let's go talk science fiction.
You might have just named the episode.
Okay, then.
I'm coming up with a list of things that I want to talk about. I'm already at like half a dozen things.
Good.
Cool, I can peanut gallery all of them.
Exactly. I've gotten in the habit of, while I'm cruising on Reddit, just when I see something, I like, oh, that's good, and I write it down.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's actually not a half bad idea.
Yep, now I got, like you said, kind of in categories for like old business, new stuff, what we're watching, and then eventually we're going to start doing reviews.
Lord knows we all have opinions on everything.
This is what I love about the Star Wars movies is we can watch them 100 times and still find new shit to talk about.
Yep, but there's definitely new series coming up or have already been released that we can certainly review if everyone's watched them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got the Bad Batch show announcement. I got the Lower Decks trailer. I got Witcher Season 2 has resumed filming. Umbrella Academy Season 2 drops at the end of the month. Transformers War for Cybertron drops at the end of the month. And Warrior Nun Aurelia is pretty cool.
Yep, you got
Although
a few things
Meredith's going to flame me alive if I start talking about Warrior Nun without her present. Though we're only 2 episodes in, so I don't know if either of you have been watching it.
I'm about to start it soon. My kind of general policy coming up is once a series comes out on Netflix, and if it's like a binge-worthy series like Umbrella Academy, I'm thinking we give ourselves 2 weeks, unless it's a really, high priority thing. Hi, we can hear you. And then maybe 2 weeks, and then we talk about it on the cast to give everyone time to watch whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. I've gotten I watched the first episode Sunday night. I haven't watched any others so far.
And I will admit the first episode did not catch me, but the second one did.
Oh, good, because I'm like you. The first one was okay, but it needs to do more if I'm going to be watching it. So good. Glad to hear that.
I'm brand new. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Jenny. We love you anyways.
Thank you.
Probably doesn't help that you actually don't see faces here right now. So
yeah, exactly.
How are you doing, by the way? Are you settling in?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm getting there. Like, we have things set up to a comfortable point, which is the point where you end up just like living with a couple of boxes laying around, that you never really get around to doing anything about.
You're at that like 90%.
Exactly. Where a year from now we could still be at this point if we don't do something about it,
Yeah.
Given the year it is, yeah.
Getting anything done is a triumph.
Everything just seems harder, yeah.
I do a little cleanup and I say, yay, I'm accomplished for today, and that's it.
That's basically what I've been doing, yeah. I'm like, I did laundry. Fantastic.
It counts.
Yeah. Now I'm going to watch TV for the next 6 hours. I've just gone back and rewatched, or not rewatched, but for the first time watched all of the British Life on Mars.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that's good.
It's great. It's really good. Like John Sim, like the master from Doctor Who, he's just amazing. Like, and actually the guy that plays like the lead detective on his team you would love him. Like you would love this show.
The last time you told me I'd like a show, Jenny, was Doctor Who, and then I watched all 50 years.
See, I got a good track record here.
Yeah, you weren't wrong.
1 for 1.
Took me months.
I know, I remember.
I wouldn't watch Eccleston until I'd watched everything leading up to it.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot you literally watched it from the beginning.
Yep, I held off and watched it in sequence.
Amazing.
I got all the little jokes, right? Because like when K9 showed back up, I lost my shit.
So I've just actually gone back and now watched the American Life on Mars.
Yeah.
and like the remake, and it was fine. It was like anything that they borrowed from the British one was great, and then everything they did aside from that was not
shit.
Yeah, and they did not stick the landing, let's say, when they
I find that happens with a lot of like British to American things.
Yeah, it's really rare that it like works, you know.
It's true,
especially
like
when they
translation.
Yeah, like I mean, I heard that they when they remade The Office, they said we want to do it with like 10% more hope, right? Because it's for American audiences, it just kind of made sense and it worked, right? But they kind of did the same thing with this, but it sort of became more like schmaltz as opposed to, yeah. Well, there, now I'm not scared at all. Thanks, guys.
There ain't nothing to this. I mean, we do it.
I know.
I edit it all so we sound like we know what, we don't sound stupid.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't publish this thing, as it is complete. I edit it for content. So, if something's...
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh God, if I'd known that.
Yeah, you could murder someone live on this thing, and he just edited it out for podcast next day.
Now, you see, he said that, and now that's going to be in it.
Yeah.
I've fucked Juice before. I'm like, I wouldn't put that in, buddy. The next day it's out there in the world. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anything for a laugh, right?
Yeah.
I think this is it. So
we just keep doing what we're doing.
We just keep. Yeah, we never like. Okay, we begin. Go. We just sort of stumble into
talk.
I just hit record at 8, and as Richard Pryor says, enjoy whatever the fuck happens.
Yeah, we're not really a well-organized or high-class group of people.
Speak for yourself.
I like to think of us as
not the organized.
I like to think of us as.
Class.
I like to think of us as the Craig Ferguson. Oh my God, Juice! Fuck you!
All right, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say now, so fuck off. All right, how about we start officially, and Jenny can tell us her big story of the week.
Oh my God, that's a lot of pressure.
Do you want me to start? Yeah.
You gotta like ask me a question or something.
All right.
I need like a prompt.
Okay, so for our 3 listeners, Jenny does an incredible series of geeky-related paintings called Scenes from the Multiverse. You might have seen her at HalCon. She's going to be at a lot more cons when they open back up again, I can guarantee it. And the work is incredible, and one piece she's done, which is the poker scene from the last scene of Next Generation, All Good Things. It has gotten a lot of attention. I believe LeVar Burton has a copy. As well as several other.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that the A-Team theme?
It's my phone.
Yeah. That is awesome. Why don't I have that? I need to do that.
You do need to do it. It's great.
Oh, I have the Final Fantasy Victories fanfare, which is pretty good, but that is... Why didn't I think of that? Right, so...
Yes.
Jenny has done these amazing paintings, and one new... buyer of the poker painting has come up this week, and it is a rather notable customer. Jenny, who was it?
Well, normally I look at my sales, I see, and I'm like, okay, they want this one, and I might look at the name briefly, and but I never really, I never like, oh, Michael, oh, Jennifer, whatever. This time I saw the name Roddenberry. I was like, well, that's a funny coincidence. And then I read the rest of the name and it said Eugene. And I thought, well, that's really weird. And then I scrolled down to the address where it said Eugene Roddenberry Jr. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? Yeah. So, based on some information with the address, I did a little Googling, and yeah, it turns out it's Gene Roddenberry's son, also known as Rod Roddenberry, who is kind of like the big wig of the Star Trek world now. I mean, he's an executive producer on Picard, on Discovery. So that's pretty crazy.
That's like for the content that you created, that's the biggest recognition you could get, like this is the guy that's running the show. That's
quite literally. Yeah, like quite literally. I mean, I was honestly in shock, and then I called my parents because that's what you do. And my dad cried. It was so nice. Like, he was just, which was the moment that I was like, it kind of sunk in, like what it meant,
Your dad
and I was
is
just
awesome.
like, I know.
And he wanted like a 48 by 48 foot, or 48 inch by 48.
He bought a billboard,
right?
Yes, yeah. Like it's the original painting was 2 feet by 2 feet, and he was asking, can I get this like twice as big? So yeah, I'm basically like maxing out my printer. And like I think I can do as big as like 42 by 42 in the end. But yeah, he wants something huge, which I really want to know what he's going to do with it.
Well, it's going to go up in the house that we all stocked on Google.
Right.
I was just thinking that a piece that large, usually gets a prominent place somewhere. So that's pretty cool.
I know. Yeah. Like it just blows my mind. Like it's I'm struggling for the words, honestly.
Yeah, you watch. So Picard and Cass are going to fly to Hawaii to meet with Roddenberry to do whatever they do for series and such like that. They're going to walk into the house, and in his living room is going to be this gigantic 3 or 4 foot by 4 foot painting that you've done there, and they're going to stare and gawk and marvel at how gorgeous it is.
Or he'll gather the whole TNG cast together and fly them to fly them to Hawaii and gather them all in front of it for a group photo.
And they're going to be like,
no, I've seen it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. LeVar's like, oh, I've got that. Yeah.
He's going to be like, I met that girl.
Then the others won't want to be outdone. They'll be like, well, I'm getting one. Fuck you, LeVar.
I really like where this is going.
You better keep your eye on the names on your Etsy. Scenes from the Multiverse, everyone. Go to the Etsy store. Juice, did you ever pick up your Picard painting yet?
No, it is still living at Jenny's right now, which is fine. I know it's in a good place and he's being well taken care of, but eventually I am going to go grab him.
I told her to resell it and then paint it again and see if you'd ever notice, which I doubt you would.
Probably not.
All those boxes I was talking about still being unpacked, they're the ones that are full of my art, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing on the walls.
So the question when this all came out, Jenny, is we were trying to figure out if Rod Roddenberry's just hanging out on Etsy looking for cool shit to buy, or did LeVar Burton say, "Oh, I've got this great painting you've got to see," or who were the other people that were in the Star Trek sort of world that know about this painting? You told me about it.
There is a former TNG cast member who is I'm having to do this because there's a little bit of sort of like secrecy behind how
absolutely
he on it, but who is a director who has through other means than buying it from me gotten his hands on a copy of it as well. So
right. My point being that there are a couple people who work in the Star Trek realm that have got a copy of this painting already. So like it's not just LeVar and Roddenberry. Like it's out there.
Exactly. And there's a fellow who was a director on Rick and Morty, actually, who bought like a big 24 by 24 print back in the spring. And so even that, because of the connection with the new Lower Deck show and the Rick and Morty crowd, because there's some overlap there. It's possible that may be a connection. So
we're going to talk about Lower Decks in a bit too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, fun fact: Rod is actually executive producing Lower Decks as well.
Oh, he is. Okay, there you go. Okay, the plot thickens.
That was my question for Jenny when I saw her yesterday, because I knew Roddenberry had a son, but I never really paid attention as to what level of involvement he had in the Star Trek what he did, if he was in the family business or whatever. And then Jenny's like, yeah, he's like the guy.
Yeah. I mean, I looked up his previous work, and he was a PA on a couple of years of Next Generation. Like he was a production assistant, basically, like the coffee guy. Because he's only a few years older than you, Ben. Like he's
I think you said he was like 45?
Something like that. Yeah. I think he was born in like 74, 75. So
right.
Yeah.
44, so yeah.
Yeah, so, and I didn't realize how young he is until after I called him Mr. Roddenberry when I thanked him for buying my art, and I was like, oh, he's actually my age, so
he really was quite literally born into this dynasty well after it had, sort of secured its place in history.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, he wasn't involved in the 90s shows or Enterprise, but it kind of makes sense because that's when he would have been like in college and like,
right.
So it actually, it kind of all times out perfectly because now he's, sort of taking the
reins.
Yeah. Whew, very cool. And I stalked his Instagram, and he seems like a pretty cool guy, so that's awesome.
Hi, Merida.
Hey.
Hi.
I slid in, sorry.
So, segueing into some old business, Juice, you were sort of away while we did a couple of casts, and I never got to hear your first-hand opinion on the announcement of Strange New Worlds.
So that's if I remember correctly, that would be the Enterprise, Spock, and
Pike.
And Pike. That's the Pike Spock vehicle that's going forward based on season 2 of Discovery.
Yes, and they are planning to approach it in a more episodic manner.
Awesome. We need that in television so much right now. Everything. It will. Well, it's maybe not that it's needed, but it will definitely make itself more distinct. Insofar as that there's not going to be any, if they do it the way they've done it, if they do it with the original Star Trek, it'll be more, if you missed last week's episode, you aren't going to get screwed watching this week's episode because you have no idea what's going on, which I think is great, for people who don't like to binge. And for people who binge, it will work fine too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And from what from all things I've seen, the gentleman playing Pike is great.
Anson Mount, he has become Pike has leapt up the ladder of my favorite captains so quick. Like, he's great.
And the guy who played Spock too on Discovery was decent as well, from what I understand. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. I will see what happens once they start production again.
I feel like Anson Mount's Pike actually out Shatner's Shatner.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah, I feel like he's got the ladies like Pike. Like he's I feel like that's what we're gonna see. So it's kind of cool.
He's got that like handsome silver fox guy in his mid-40s thing going on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that. No, the funny thing about Anson Mount being I said he's a cowboy is he's also in the series Hell on Wheels, which is a great show where he is a cowboy, and Cole Meany, Chief O'Brien, plays like the kind of the sort of not antagonist of that show, and it's so good.
Oh, right.
Highly recommend. But he just plays the rough and tough. He's got a big beard and long hair and the hat and everything, so he looks very different, but it's it made me a fan. And then when I saw he was going to be Pike, I was like, yes.
I mean, also Mystique is playing number 1, which is also pretty cool.
I didn't clue into that for a while.
Yeah, neither did I until I looked her up on IMDb, and I'm like, she's Mystique in the 2000s X-Men movies?
All I know is I saw her and I was like, I like her. I didn't really know why, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, Mystique doesn't talk in a lot of the early X-Men movies, right? Because if she's talking, she's somebody else, which means it's not actually Rebecca.
So I'll be curious to see if they're going to also bring in Royce and any of the other characters from the original The Cage pilot that they originally did for Star Trek.
I am quite honestly expecting at some point in Strange New Worlds run that we are going to see a young McCoy brought in as a regular guy.
Yeah, so this is what I was thinking the other day, and I will draw on Juice's knowledge of the original series because I don't have any, but like, I don't know what the current stardate is in which the show is operating, but how, before Kirk shows up, how long is like Scotty and McCoy and Chekhov and Sulu, like how before Kirk are they officers on that ship?
I am not sure off the top of my head. All I do know is that they're doing their first 5-year mission, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
Kirk
the
has been there
because doesn't Pike in Discovery say that they skipped the whole Klingon War because they were off doing something?
Oh, maybe.
Right. No.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when I say first 5-year mission, I'm talking Kirk's first 5-year mission. There was definitely, the ship itself has been like in the original universe, Star Trek, the ship itself has like been in commission for like 10, 15 years, something like that. And so by the time they hit the movies and Star Trek 3, they're saying that the Enterprise is like 25 years old, which apparently is a decent amount of time for a space hull like that, and they're decomming her. So
yeah, because like in Enterprise, they talk about the fact that the NX-01 was only in service for 10 years.
Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, the ships are. Yeah, you're right. With Pike, they already had done one 5-year mission. So with Kirk, they're starting a second one. I'd have to probably do a little research to see exactly. But I think it's 2260 something. The way they do the star dates and such like that roughly correspond. The actual Gregorian calendar year roughly corresponds with the year the series happened or the year the movie happened. So,
and I'm just wondering, in later seasons of Strange New Worlds, are we going to see a recasted younger Scotty or Bones, or insert original TOS character here?
Maybe, because I mean, Spock was already there. Spock was there for the first 5-year mission with Pike. Mm-hmm. So it goes to it definitely can be possible that as Pike is going through his 5-year mission, crew transfers on and off the ship will happen, and we might see some of the original cast characters come on board and be there before Kirk takes over as captain. It could very well be possible.
There's been some fan speculation that because they've been talking about the casting of a new Kirk, that the speculation that he would be a young junior officer on the ship, so we might not see him a lot, but he'd be there. Because I don't think it's gonna happen like the new movies where he's just gets plunked into the captain's seat on day fucking 3, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, because in the original series, I mean, they talk about him serving on the Farragut and him serving on a couple other ships before he became captain. Now, according to, I mean, he was the youngest captain ever to command the starship, so he rose up pretty quickly through the ranks before he became captain of the Enterprise. But I mean, he still served on a couple other ships before he took command.
So, looking at Memory Alpha, it says that Scotty did not join the Enterprise crew until he served under Kirk for the first 5-year mission.
Yeah, and Chekhov definitely came later, so like I say, we might see Bones, and I'm not really expecting anyone else, really. Sulu was quite young when he was on the bridge too, right? So,
very, as well as Chekhov and all the other Uhura and all of them as well.
So Jenny, you might remember this when we had our hands on the Star Trek sort of encyclopedia in the 90s. It lists, and it even has a photo of the original captain of the Enterprise, Captain April. Do you remember that?
I do, actually.
Oh my God, April. Yes.
Just as a point of interest, I actually own the new Star Trek encyclopedia, like the monster one that weighs about 40 pounds, and And but yeah, I completely forgot about Captain April.
Yeah, he's just
Robert
sort of a little blurb in the encyclopedia, but yeah, he was in there. He was listed as the original captain before Pike. I never forgot that.
I love that that's in your head.
Yeah, Captain Robert April, and then there was Pike, and then there was Kirk. Finished with, and then technically Spock when the Enterprise became a training vessel, and then she was decommed, and then Enterprise A showed up. Kirk took over again, and then after that, I think she got decommed. Yeah, she got decommed again after she took a beating from that Klingon bird of prey.
Yeah,
and then Enterprise B showed up.
You know, this would be a funny chance for Strange New Worlds to invent, because I don't think they ever really, I don't remember what Captain April's fate was, so they could make up any kind of crazy shit. Oh, that captain, he fucking blew himself out the airlock by accident. You know, they could say any crazy shit.
More than likely, he probably got promoted, but blown out the airlock could work too. I mean, it is a web. It is a direct to web series. They can basically do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
and they always do say, you know, the admirals are always telling the captains, don't let them promote you.
Yeah.
So
let's do the news, and that segues right into the Lower Decks trailer. Did you guys watch this?
I did.
It looks pretty funny.
I had the VPN into an American server in order to watch it, which sucked, but I did it.
Why'd you have to do that?
So when it first came out, when all the news sites were listing or had listed the YouTube video, the fucking thing was region blocked.
Oh, geo. Okay.
Geo blocked. So I had to, as I said, turn on my VPN, pretend I was an American, and watch it that way. So yes, I have seen it.
I just waited a couple hours till they posted it on Instagram.
Yeah, but this is Juice and Star Trek we're talking. He's like, fuck you, I'm watching this.
Awesome. That's great. I love it.
Once I saw it posted, I went through like several news articles. They are all using the same YouTube video, and I saying, fuck, that's what they did, didn't they? So short answer, yes, I've seen it too.
It looks hilariously good, and they're kind of, it seems to me that, you know, all these properties that would never consider doing something silly like this, they're starting to kind of come around on it. And I directly reference the Harley Quinn show, which DC is doing, which is fucking phenomenal. It is riddled with curse words and, you know, off-color humor, but still manages to tell a cohesive story and keep true to the essence of the characters. I didn't know what to expect when I first started watching Harley Quinn, but then Joker's like, oh, for fuck's sake, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. And Lower Decks seems like, well, I don't expect any, you know, crazy cursing in it. It's not taking itself so seriously anymore, and I think it's gonna be fantastic.
It's because streaming services, they don't have to worry about the FCA, right?
Yeah.
Or the FCC, sorry. So they don't have to worry about censors. They don't have to worry about broadcast standards, yada, yada, yada. They can literally have Harley Quinn, you know, curse an F-bomb streak like 3 miles wide, blow up a hospital, I don't know, make crude jokes, and it's hilarious.
And there seems to be, of course, I'm sure everyone's noticed that the trend towards cartoons that are more oriented towards adults have been exploding over the last 5-10 years. So something like this coming out doesn't surprise me in the least.
Marvel was supposed to do something like the Harley Quinn thing with Deadpool, and they were supposed to do it first, but for some reason it didn't happen, and then Harley Quinn happened, and I love both Marvel and DC, but like everyone likes to, you know, pit them against each other. This was one time DC really beat Marvel to the punch, was doing this really crazy R-rated cartoon.
The thing with DC is they have always been pretty much at the forefront of the television side of stuff like this. I seem to find that DC does amazing with cartoons and TV series and such, and Marvel blows people away with the movie genre. So usually, if anything from DC comes out that's like it's straight to video or it's like a TV series or such, it'll normally definitely pique my interest. Whereas the stuff I've seen from Marvel, not so much. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the writers that they have or whatever. But I've always found that the DC cartoons have enthralled me a lot more than the Marvel ones. And then you switch it over, the Marvel movies have like, they're absolutely fucking amazing. But the DC movies, they've been really hit and miss.
The Marvel TV thing might be about to change though, because like Falcon and Winter Soldier are coming, WandaVision and all that, so that might be changing.
I hope so. But mind you, keep in mind they're also basing it off the movie properties. Likewise, right. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been based essentially off the movie property too, and it's been a fairly decent TV show if you've been keeping up with it. So, but like as for quote unquote original stuff, where they just like they're making new shit up as they go along or whatever, or taking a DC comic and adapting it to small screen. Yeah. So there we go. Now I've got my words right. DC is excelled in the small screen, whereas Marvel has always excelled on the big screen.
I just read, I think yesterday actually, that the Batman movie with Jeffrey Wright from Westworld is going to be Commissioner Gordon, and they're working apparently on some sort of TV project that sounds like it's going to be like a gritty cop show with Jeffrey Wright returning as the Commissioner, and I am all over that shit. I will watch that. Cool.
So I agree with Juice about the whole DC's animated stuff is better than Marvel's, and Marvel's live action stuff is better. And I just think it's because the types of stories that DC and the DC tells with the Justice League lend themselves to things that would be very expensive to do with real actors and stuff. Like, because it's always like galactic whatever. Like someone's trying to like Darkseid is trying to trash the Earth and stuff. And that's just easier to animate than it is to CG stuff.
Right.
And they can get some continuity with their voice actors. Like DC constantly uses the same voice actors for Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman and stuff. They don't change it around very often, which I like.
Oh, side note about Marvel TV stuff. Has anybody been watching the final season that's ongoing of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because it's actually really good.
Time travel.
Yeah, I'm digging it though. It's got this really good Agent Carter tie-in and stuff. But anyway, I've been watching it and I'm really digging it.
I have to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've been a bad boy. I don't think I've actually gotten past like halfway through season 1 yet. I've been keeping up to see what's going on, so at least I can talk intelligibly if people have asked.
Well, they're on season 7, so you got about 6 seasons to get.
I've got a lot of TV to watch, yes.
So getting back to DC, especially, I want to hear definitely Merida's opinion on this, on the recasting of Batwoman.
I have a very long kind of feel on this whole thing, really. So I am very, very sad that Ruby Rose is leaving, because even though the show itself is not as good as it could have been, like, and it's not her. I think the writing was kind of crap. I get why she's going as well, I think. So I'm very sad to see the Kate Kane sort of storyline drop, because there's so much more good stuff that they could have done, so much, right? So, and in fact, the stuff they're doing right now, like we've talked about before, the whole Alice thing and stuff, like it's honestly not even the best storyline that they did. It's the first, like, it's the way to start it off. You kind of got it because it gives family backstory, but like, there's like more to come. But that said, at first, when I found out they were like essentially inventing this character, but then they were describing her like Kate Kane, essentially, I was like, are we just gonna like rename this person and then they're still gonna be that same kind of slightly asshole, really doesn't care, probably has a drinking problem superhero? But now I am very, very excited that we are actually going to have a little diversity in the Bat Fam. Like, it's going to be awesome.
This character does not exist in the comics, right?
Yeah, no, not unless, I mean, I am not like an encyclopedia of the Batwoman universe by any means, but to my knowledge, no, this is a new character.
And that's what's kind of appealing to me. It's like, all right, this is brand new territory. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, and I think, and it's cool because that's kind of what people keep saying, you know? I mean, I don't agree particularly, but a lot of people take issue when they cast, you know, somebody who doesn't match the comic book as the character, which then, you know, screws over, you know, actors of color and stuff who want, you know, the choice roles, but we weren't making those roles because that's white guys were drawing comics, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you can create a new character, then theoretically, I mean, you're not, but theoretically, you should be making all the people happy.
Yes.
This kind of seems to me that it'll kind of do what Harley Quinn did. It'll originate in a show and then it will become a comic and, you know, it'll go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
So like the Harley series though is a little like more along the lines of like the new 52 Harley when they had her kind of out doing some of the stuff from that too.
Yeah, I just mean like she originated in the old 90s animated series. She didn't she didn't start in a comic at all, right?
No, she did not. Yeah.
So neither does this one, so that's kind of cool.
Existed to fall off a building.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am excited about I'm totally blanking on the actress's name, which is terrible.
Yeah, can you place her in anything else? Like where would we know her from? I feel like I've missed the announcement.
Her name is, I'm just looking it up. I'm going to butcher this, and not like she's listening to have to hear me do it, but in case, Javicia Leslie is her name.
Okay.
She's going to be playing Ryan Wilder. So as far as I know, yeah, this is because Ryan Wilder is a wholly original creation made exclusively for the Arrowverse. So it is not just me. So yeah. She's best known for playing the role of Allie Finer on God Friended Me and Has Been. So I don't particularly know her, but she is stunning to start with. Like, oh my gosh! But
oh, there she is. Oh, okay.
But I think that I just think it'll be good, and I'm excited, and I'm glad that it is like an original character.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, then it's just cool. There are a lot of stories to tell, and we do spend a lot of time adapting this comic book and that comic book. When, you know, why not use the universe but make new people?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just happy that we're just going to diversify the Bat universe. Like, seriously, the Bat family. It's like,
oh, what, you know, like the constant stream of 4 white Robins with the same hair every time?
like,
I mean, there was a girl Robin, and I'm forgetting the character. Who's the Bat family that in the flying suit? I can't remember their name.
In like the Iron Man suit?
Yeah.
Batwing.
Thank you. Isn't he African American?
That's Lucius.
Lucius Fox's son, right?
Yeah, so I'm expecting, you know, at some point that suit to become a reality if the Batwoman show continues. Like, he will build that, and it'll be out there too.
and I feel like, so yes, but if you're to ask somebody on the street who's in the Bat family, they're not picking Batwing.
I mean, they're going to say Batman and Robin and maybe Batgirl.
Yeah, what Batwoman? Everybody just thinks Batwoman and Batgirl. Well, until recently, I think it's better now because of the show. But for a long time, you would say so Batwoman, and they go Batgirl, and I'd be like, no, that's another character.
Funny story: for one of our first Christmases, I bought Joni a custom wallet off of Etsy with Batwoman on it because that's her favorite member of the Bat family character. And the woman basically takes a wallet that she already has and prints on the front. So she sent me the proof of nothing but Batgirl. And I'm like, that's the wrong character. And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. Here is a link to a bunch of pictures of the character that I mean. Okay, thanks.
Oh,
no. It is a great wallet, though. And it was Bombshell Batwoman, which, of course, is my, like, total.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just funny. But yeah, a lot of people just, so Batgirl. No, not the same. Totally different storyline. Yeah.
So the other big new announcement that is appealing directly to us is the Bad Batch.
Also very stoked for this one, too.
I honestly didn't see that one coming, and I'm delighted.
I could swear I had this conversation with somebody, and Matt and I were talking about this, and I could swear we were talking about how cool it would be if they spun the Bad Batch off. But maybe I dreamt it. I don't know.
So from what I read, the Bad Batch, this is going to be based after Order 66, with the Bad Batch being a group of mercenaries. Am I right on that?
They're the A-Team of Star Wars.
Oh
so
my God,
that wasn't just a joke you posted, Christ. That is the actual premise of the show. So like, Echo's going to be in it, and they are actually going to be mercenaries. Like I thought that was just a joke thing you found.
I mean, it was a joke thing that I found and people were just being like, they're going to be a mercenary squad, and then somebody wrote a Bad Batch themed A-Team intro. Like, let me find it.
Totally did have this discussion, and I think we talked about it sort of in a podcast, because we talked about the fact that at the end of Clone Wars with Order 66, they were the only other ones not accounted for, that we weren't sure whether they would actually whether it would have worked on them.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that these guys, because they're sort of mutants, that the 66 is not going to work on them, or Echo, so they will become Imperial fugitives very quickly.
Well, they also don't regularly work with Jedi, right? They're not attached to a Jedi-led battalion.
Right.
So the thing I stole off of Reddit was, quote, 10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by an Imperial court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security detention block to the Outer Rim Underground. Today, still wanted by the Empire, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Bad Batch.
See, that just gave me chills.
God. Oh.
And this might mean that, again, I get more Ahsoka.
It's true. So it is yet another thing set in the dark time between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Blah, blah, blah. Disney's beating that era to death. Whatever. But I'm really curious to see the art style. So I don't know if they're going to keep the Clone Wars art style so they can reuse assets that they already have. Right. Or we're going to get a new looking show. I'm a little bit worried because the main showrunner is the same person that did Resistance, which I wasn't a huge fan of the art style of. But I'll wait and I'll reserve till I actually see actual footage or stills.
We'll be waiting for that trailer.
Filoni is executive producing this, isn't he?
Correct.
So
we got faith in him.
Probably have a good chance that they'll keep the Clone Wars art style, hopefully, or they might do a completely new one. Who knows?
Well, see, that's what I'm worried about, right? The Clone Wars art style is notorious for being very expensive. Like somebody was saying that George Lucas was dropping like $1 million in animation per episode.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't see Disney wanting to do that for a direct to Disney Plus.
Well,
they
probably dropped 12 to 20 for the Mandalorian.
I mean, yeah, they spent 20. I think they spent 20 million on the entire 8 episodes of the Mandalorian, but that was like their marquee kickoff Disney Plus show, right?
Paid off.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Given the uncertainty around filming live action stuff right now, though, maybe they have a little extra money to throw around.
Yeah,
and this is true because if it paused any of their other filming and they're going to worry about like missing their like once every 3-month drop of a brand new show on Disney Plus, then you're right. They could dump more money into this to get it looking nicer. The other thing I'm curious about is what the rating for this is going to be.
Right, because the Bad Batch is supposed to be the dirty job guys, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's not aimed at kids like Resistance was, because that show is fucking painful.
I'm hopeful we see like a PG-13. I don't think they wouldn't. Disney's not going to go R with Star Wars. We know that's never going to happen. But I'm hopeful for like a PG-13, same as Clone Wars-ish kind of thing.
Anything equal to or above Clone Wars or Rebels, because characters died and there was violence and stuff. But like even just that, I'd be good with.
I just want to see what shit they get up to.
Yeah, and I like you said, we're very familiar with the Rise of the Empire era, but it's still, I think, in my opinion, still really fertile ground for new stories.
Especially because we don't really have a lot of stories with a scrappy group of ex-Republic that aren't Jedi, right? Like almost everything we see from the Rise of the Empire, with I guess the exception of Solo, has Jedi in it, and Rogue One a little bit, but Vader's there and stuff. But like has something to do with Jedi or at least the rebellion.
I think it'll be good. I think that Disney has started to realize that, I don't know, maybe people don't just love the Jedi.
And I think The Mandalorian has proved that.
Yeah, so I think that with that, they've realized, oh ho, perhaps there is another market we can tap, and they can animate stuff. So when you can animate stuff, especially where they can't, live shoot stuff right now, so voiceover work is a lot easier to do without a whole bunch of people in a room. And even with The Mandalorian, because they've been shooting so much of that green screen, they
with that cool wraparound, whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah, like that stuff they can keep doing. And shooting, by the way, for stuff begins in Vancouver and Toronto next month. So
yeah, actually, I have a bullet point on my list of stuff that The Witcher season 2 has actually resumed filming as of this week.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Season 1 was fantastic.
Agreed.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh, watch it.
If you like Henry Cavill grunting and swinging a sword around,
he really does. He really does the character justice.
And being half naked half the time.
Right?
That too.
In fact, all naked one of the times. Mostly.
Fabulous. Yeah, my move really interfered with my entertainment there for a little while.
It happens.
Get watching. You can be a podcast regular.
I mean, you can be a podcast regular anyways.
This is very fun.
Well, I want to do this every week again. I like it. I don't care if there's 2 people listening. I'm going to listen to it when I'm old.
I mean, I'm on it and I listen to it.
You're one of the 2 listeners.
This is about the only show where I can actually stand and listen to the sound of my own voice.
So let's move on to the next section, which I need a better name for, but it's what are we watching? What are we reading? What are we playing? Merida, I have finished watching Penny Dreadful, City of Angels.
So what did you think of the ending? So depressing.
Yeah, you're right. Not a happy ending. But here's the thing about this show. I have you guys might not know this. I have a very keen interest in American history between basically the Wild West and World War II. It's just like, especially California type setting. Like it's such an interesting time period to me. And the thing about this show is it works even without any of the supernatural elements in it. And there wasn't an overabundance of that, but it was there. But this show works as a drama unto itself, just as like a cop drama and the stuff with all the racial tensions and stuff like that. Like it worked on its own, and I loved it.
No, it was really good. And there is, I mean, obviously it's Penny Dreadful, so there is a supernatural sort of thing. I was a little worried that it was going to suffer because obviously, the original Penny Dreadful and that Victorian thing, kind of the point, right? What Penny Dreadfuls were. So with Frankenstein and with, Dr. Jekyll and all that stuff. But this was really good. He set it, the series kind of on its ear and managed to make a show that had like supernatural stuff, had Nazis, had like California and how it was changing and all of the racial tension and stuff that was happening in California at the time. And when I said it was depressing at the ending, make it end in a way that is a commentary on what's happening in the United States right now.
Very much so.
So it's like, damn.
Well done, showrunners.
They were pretty direct about the comparisons to like American politics right now, in relation to that the city councilman character, like just they're just might as well been talking about this year.
Like that's so sad on some level. Like this was, we look back in history and we all understand the levels of racism that people faced in the what that would have been the 40s, I guess. And we like to think that we've evolved past that, but then you're watching this and you're like, this could literally be happening if it wasn't for the clothing.
Yeah.
Like, this could be happening now.
And it is.
Yeah. Yep. Like, there's a lot of talk, I mean, without spoiling anybody that's going to go and watch it, about building a highway or freeway through Los Angeles in a way that starts to segregate communities, the Hispanic community in particular. And I mean, a lot of other supernatural stuff and cool things happen along with that. But that's kind of the main thread that kind of keeps getting, like, I think at one point they even say you might as well build a wall.
Nice, yeah.
So like that's this kind of thing that runs through it all the time. All this freaky stuff is happening as well.
They actually, they do. That's a line in the last episode saying how they're not building roadways; they're building walls to wall off all people of color and Jewish people and everything. Like it's like all the Nazi element in it. Oh, man, fires me up.
Yeah, and it's this Nazi element of the time period where the Americans still were not convinced Hitler was a bad guy.
Yeah, also another spooky, historical parallel, because there's like Nazis going out to the public, handing out pamphlets, promoting their ideas before the the horrors of the Holocaust came out. Like but it's clear that that they were doing shit and pressing the fuck out of Jewish people and stuff, but like it hadn't reached that historical peak yet,
And then there's the whole thing that happened with Brian, but you and I will have to talk about it after so that we don't spoil it for
Although
people.
As I said when I started watching the show, I didn't know Nathan Lane was in it and as one of the main characters, and he is just fucking awesome throughout.
Oh, he's a treasure.
I love this character.
He was just perfect. It was like, and I mean, I love Natalie Dormer too. So, and holy, get to stretch her acting chops.
Yeah. Yes.
She played a lot of characters in it. So
yeah, that was cool.
And that child. Good damn it, that child.
Oh, that fucking creepy kid.
Seriously, watch. If you guys haven't watched it, watch it. It's just really good.
It's really worth a watch. Yeah.
And you don't need to have watched the last like couple of seasons that they had to understand any of this.
That was the actor that played Frankenstein's monster in the first one. That was the German guy, right? Yeah, I thought so.
That was
Yeah. He's been in a couple Bond films too, I think.
Peter Croft.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
Yeah.
I was saying earlier, Meredith, that we're going to talk about Warrior Nun probably in a week or two, and the general thing now is when something comes out that's bingeable on Netflix, like say Umbrella Academy or whatever, we'll give ourselves like 2 weeks, and then we'll hit it in the podcast, give everyone a chance to sort of take it in.
We're 2 episodes in, and I personally am loving it. Yeah, like I'm loving it. It's been a very long time since I read the comics, like a very long time, like the 90s, but because I got them when I was watching the X-Files, the original times through, like that long ago. So, but yeah, it's the same universe and moving forwards, but they do reference characters that are from the original comics, and then they explain how they get the new character, which is cool. I feel like Cryos did not love it as much as I did the first 2 episodes, but because there was a lot of plot development.
So I found the first episode kind of dry and didn't really catch me, but by the end of the second episode, I was like, okay, I'm on board with this.
I will have many more opinions, because this is, of all the shows that have the power to disappoint me, this does. So I'm hopeful.
There will be opinions. We'll tackle that in 2 weeks, like I say.
Okay.
Is anyone else watching Doom Patrol Season 2?
We watched, I want to say the first 2 episodes, I think, and it's right back to form for these guys. They haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, I'm a few more in, but it's just as good as season 1. Every bit as good and the same feel.
I think we only watched the first one. Because we watched them come back, and I think we haven't caught up from there.
Brendan Fraser is fantastic as Robot Man in this, and he curses more than a drunken sailor, man. It is fucking hilarious.
He must love this role because he literally gets to phone 90% of it in.
Yeah, I don't think it's him in the suit.
It's not. I looked the other day. It's not him in the suit. So Brendan Fraser is only there when they do flashbacks before he died.
Right.
And he gets to like voice it over, but still, and even like seriously, how hard can it be to learn his script some of the time? It just be, and then Brendan curses, and he says, "Okay," and then he just curses.
Most of it's him going, "The fuck." But he's killing it in the voice acting though, because there's no spoilers, but there's a couple points in season 2 where he just goes off on a fucking tear on Niles or whoever, and it is just this non-repeating barrage of fucking creative insults with cursing, and it is amazing.
I do enjoy Timothy Dalton in this movie or this show as well. I think he does a really good, not quite Professor X.
Oh yeah, he's like a really fucking flawed Professor X. It's great.
I believe Professor X was a bit of an asshole too. So,
well, yeah, fair point. Yeah. Charles is kind of a prick too. Like, yeah, you're right. I guess he didn't quite experiment on it. Well, you know what? I don't even know if that's true. Maybe they're the same. Maybe they're the same guy.
They let him be a little darker, but he mostly believed he was doing it for goodish things. Eventually,
yeah.
I mean, eventually. In the beginning, they were,
Kitty Pryde was right. Professor Xavier is a jerk.
You know how I feel about these authority figures anyway. So,
so I read just today that Diane Guerrero, who plays Crazy Jane, she wants to be the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern, and I think that's the best idea I've ever heard. She would fucking nail it. Because the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern has a ton of real world anxiety issues and stuff like that. Like I haven't read a lot of the comics, but I remember reading one where she's a Green Lantern, she's a superhero for Earth along with the other guy, and she couldn't get out of bed that morning because she was just her mental illness wouldn't let her get up and be a hero. But because she plays all these characters and different personalities as Crazy Jane, and she just fucking kills it every time. So like, she would do that justice.
Yeah, I think she would. She's probably my favorite character, I think. That's the cool thing about her role, though. She gets to, it's the same thing as we say with Natalie Dormer and Penny Dreadful. It's like when you get to play more than one character, that's kind of a pretty, I would think, from an acting perspective, a pretty fun sort of deal.
Oh, for sure.
It's shows I'm excited about coming out. I'm looking forward to Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Have the trailer for that. Looks like it's going to be super fun and hard to understand, but super fun.
I saw the trailer for Lucifer Season 5 yesterday. It looks pretty damn good.
I am so far behind on it. It got better, apparently.
It got better.
Yeah, Damon is a very big fan, and he said it definitely, like, there was a point where it was kind of like meh, which is when I stopped watching, and he kept going, and then he said it got better again after. So,
Juice, did you see the Transformer trailer for Netflix coming up?
No, I have not yet. It'll be on my list. I will watch it here very soon, and we can discuss it next week if you want.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, like it's just the trailer that's out so far. I think the show comes out towards the end of this month, but it's all Cybertron stuff, like War Within time period, no Earth shit. But it's the Siege Transformer toy line has been out for a while. Cole's got a few of them, but the designs are kind of based on that, and it just looks like really good Cybertron war stuff. So I'm stoked.
Well,
that should be interesting.
Am I wrong in this? But didn't the toys come out for Transformers before the show came out?
Yes, the toys have been out for years, actually.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's just kind of going with their
marketing, but it's looking good for an 80s kid like me. And the cool thing is the Siege storyline, the Siege toy line rather, has a lot of female Autobots like Chromie and stuff, and I definitely spotted her in the trailer.
Sadly, I am my Transformers is mostly limited to Beast Wars. So
Beast Wars was amazing. We should talk about Beast Wars sometime.
Beast Wars is good. And if we're going to do Beast Wars, then I would also like to do Reboot, and I would also like to do Battle Planet. So then we'll just do them all.
I haven't seen Reboot literally since like the 90s. Like that, I should watch that. That'd be a trip. I was too busy getting drunk.
Okay, I'm actually watching the trailer now for War for Cybertron. I'm intrigued.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it is actually.
Megatron looks like his proper badass self. Someone made a comment where Optimus, and he seems very war weary already. Like, for fuck's sake. 4 million years of this shit.
Oh, no. So, who's voicing Prime?
Not Peter Cullen.
Really?
I don't think so. I only watched it the one time, but I usually recognize Peter Cullen's voice, and I'm not sure if it was him or not, but I don't think so.
It almost seems sacrilegious not to have Cullen as Optimus Prime.
I think it's equally sacrilegious not to have Frank Welker as Megatron.
True.
Megatron had that gravelly voice.
Mm-hmm.
So Optimus Prime is voiced by a guy named Jake Foshi, who doesn't even have a photo on IMDb. So take that as you will.
He's got big blue boots to fill.
And then Megatron is a guy named Jason Marnoka, whom I also have no idea.
Okay, finish watching it. Yeah, that's on my list now. And wow, they're actually using a lot of the original. Looks like they're using a lot of the original G1 designs here.
Yeah, like a lot of the Siege toys are like classic G1 stuff. Cole just bought himself a Sideswipe a couple weeks ago, and it is Sideswipe from the 80s. Like it's good stuff.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
So
Jake
I'm looking.
Fogarty's actually been voicing Optimus for a little while.
Oh, really? Well, there's been a ton of Transformer shows. Like I missed the boat on a lot of them.
Since 2018?
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So does that mean that Cullen's finally retired?
Maybe.
Or they can't afford him anymore. I'm looking at the characters, and I'm like Ultra Magnus, Impactor, Optimus Prime, Ratchet, Shockwave, Mirage, RC, Ironhide, and then I'm like Teletran 1, sweet. Megatron, Wheeljack, Jetfire, Starscream, Sideswipe, Bumblebee, like all the classic.
That's all G1.
Yeah.
Even Impactor, who was more character in the comics, he was one of the Wreckers, but that's still sort of G1 territory.
It'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I'm looking through the cast of voice actors here, and I recognize none of them. This should be interesting.
We're gonna get to know them, I guess.
So looks like it's going to be 6 episodes for Siege, which I'm assuming is part 1, and then parts 2 and 3 will be later.
Right? Yeah, they're billing it as a trilogy right from the start.
Yeah, it's almost like a trilogy of miniseries, as opposed to like one quote-unquote season.
Man, this is going to be like Castlevania all over again, or Voltron. It's going to be so good. It's going to just drive the 80s kid in me crazy, and then it's going to be like 6 20-minute episodes and done, and I'm going to be like, fuck.
Oh, that was the other thing. I think Netflix greenlit Castlevania Season 4, too.
I believe so. That show is so good.
Which is good, because Season 3 was a cliffhanger. So, yeah.
Of course, so it's screaming for a Season 4, so...
The art style is so... the voice acting is so good, and the art style is so good.
Speaking of screaming for a sequel or a TV show, did anyone actually watch The Old Guard?
Not yet.
I've seen it in my recommendeds on Netflix. It's on my list of things to watch.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. What is it?
So synopsis: it's almost like a Highlander type of thing.
Sold.
Group of warriors who are basically immortal. I mean, you
there's 4
kill
of
them, they'll come back to life. Well, in modern times.
Well, they know.
Yeah,
Meredith, have you been talking?
Yeah.
Have you been selling our stories to producers?
Maybe wrote a screenplay, had a wedding to pay for.
Fuck.
What am I gonna do?
without using spoilers, so basically, group of 4 warriors, they can't die. They discover a new one, which apparently hasn't happened in a while. So there's that story. And then there's another plot that's interwoven with that. And the only thing I will say is that if I ever saw a backdoor pilot for a series through this movie, yeah.
So it's a movie, okay.
Yes, it's a 2-hour movie, but my God, it basically, I mean, this should become it's screaming the way they've done it, blatantly screaming for it to become a series. So
I mean, that's how Highlander worked in the first place, right? There was the movie, and then the movie spun the TV show.
Yeah,
exactly. But this one the actual story and the writing and everything actually lends to it becoming a series. So
memo to self: when I'm done my Star Trek rewatch, of which I'm on season 6 now of Deep Space Nine, I should really do a Clan MacLeod rewatch.
We will watch Highlander. We will watch that. I will watch the shit out of that again.
Is this one gonna have a French guy playing a Scottish guy and a Scottish guy playing a Spanish guy?
Right.
If only.
I love Christopher Lambert though. Like I love him in everything.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, I gotta go. My dad's calling.
Right. I think that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much. I'll have this out on Thursday and Friday. Thanks for coming, Jenny.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.